the chalice while you do that. So, Magnificat, and then Bonhoeffer is.
You gave me a look, yeah.
Good morning. I'm Peben Nee, and I'm happy to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Long Beach, an inclusive, justice-centered congregation of members and friends. We are a diverse spiritual community with many different beliefs. Together, we affirm that love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. Greetings to those of you who are new or visiting our church this morning. We're so glad you're here. If you are interested in learning more about the congregation, please stop by the welcome table to learn more. Welcome also to those joining on YouTube and Zoom. If you are interested in learning more about UUCLB, our starting point workshop is today at 11:30 in the lounge. Our next New Members Sunday is coming up on December 14th. If you've been thinking about joining, now is a great time. After the service, if you are watching us online, please join our Zoom coffee hour where you can chat with others in the congregation. If you are here on site, please stay for our coffee hour on the patio. And now let us take a moment to greet one another warmly and respectfully and quickly.
It's all like frank communities, you know, where sometimes it's very like stiff, you know, like yes, yes. But I also feel for you sometimes. I'm like, well, this is like a hard part of like. I know it is kind of really accurate. Exactly, you got it. So I'm gonna make one little quick adjustment right now. Yeah.
Okay, please start taking your seats. We have a full program. Do you know if anyone's making an announcement? Okay. All right. Find your seats. All right. So, thank you. Thank you to Laura Scully, Jan Goodwin, and our campus decorating party crew for decking the halls yesterday. It's beautiful. We are so grateful for how fabulously festive the church looks. Our holiday events and services are in full swing. Please see our monthly advance and weekly newsletter for all of the details. Next Sunday, we welcome our religious education program to lead us in a very UU Christmas pageant with your favorite carols, followed by a potluck cookie party. Feel free to dress in your holiday best. Santa and elf hats, reindeer antlers, and ugly sweaters are welcome. Are there any announcements? No. But someone asked me to remind or say that there's a pair of glasses left over there on the table. So if that's yours, go look for it. Okay. And then,
Yes. So we are blessed this morning to have in our presence the Lilia Ensemble back again to lead us in beautiful music today. We have Subin, Elizabeth, and Rebecca with us, and Lilia Ensemble was formed in 2021 out of a love of early and eclectic music and the joy that comes from blending a trio of voices. Beth, Subin, and Rebecca balance professional singing careers with day jobs ranging from education to science and law. And blending their different areas of expertise, they delight in finding opportunities to share both familiar and lesser heard pieces in a wide variety of styles. And you will see that there is a second page to your order of service today that has the translations of what they will be singing today. So if you'd like to follow along, you're most welcome to. If you'd like to take it home and go back to it and reflect, it's there for you as well. And we're just going to ask, because it is an acoustic a cappella trio, that we just try to quiet our minds and our bodies and our coffee cups and our papers and everything else that we do while we are listening, and allow us to enter into this meditative invitation through music. And now I'll move into our chalice lighting words led by Peeben, and then we will sing together our first carol.
all right. In the Christian tradition, Advent is the period of waiting for the birth of Jesus and the 4-week celebration of spiritual light. Each week, until Christmas, a candle is lit along with each of the preceding candles. The flame of each new candle reminds us that something is happening now, but something more is still to come. The first candle is a symbol of hope. Kindling hope is an act of faith in the future and an act of courage in the face of despair. The second candle is lit as a symbol of our longing for peace in a violent world marked by its absence. In the waning days of 2025, we reflect on another year when hopes for peace have been crushed, with painful unresolved conflicts in Ukraine and ongoing and worsening genocide in Sudan and Palestine. And yet our own imagination of peace must still be possible. We light our Advent candle for peace, followed by our chalice with these words from the poet, Dr. Maya Angelou, an excerpt from Amazing Peace, a Christmas poem. Into this climate of fear and apprehension, Christmas enters. In our joy, we think we hear a whisper. At first, it is too soft, then only half heard. We listen carefully as it gathers strength. We hear a sweetness. The word is peace. It is loud now. It is louder, louder than the explosion of bombs. We tremble at the sound. We are thrilled by its presence. It is what we have hungered for, not just the absence of war, but true peace, a harmony of spirit, a comfort of courtesies, security for our beloveds and their beloveds. We clap hands and welcome the peace of Christmas. We beckon this good season to wait a while with us. We implore you, peace, to stay with us a while. Come, let us worship together.
O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive children dwell. Give comfort to all exiles here, and to the aching hearted cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell. Oh, come, you splendor very bright, as joy that never yields to might. Oh, come and turn hearts to praise, that greed and war at last shall cease. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as truth to dwell. Oh, come, you dayspring, come and cheer our spirits by your presence here, and dawn in every broken soul as vision that can see the whole. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as light to dwell. Oh, come, you wisdom from on high, from depths that hide within a sigh, to temper knowledge with our care, to render every act a prayer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as hope to dwell.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Annie Farmer. When Reverend Lissa asked me if I'd like to share a reflection today, I felt both grateful and a little nervous. I've actually been doing a lot of public speaking recently, but it does feel different to speak within this really incredible community of which I'm a new participant. Some of you may have seen me running around after my 2-year-old and know that I am a mom. I've had the chance to speak with some of you in this small fellowship group or after service and talk a little bit about the fact that we moved here from Texas and I'm a psychologist. But what many people don't know is that I'm also a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And I was harmed by them in 1996 when I was 16 years old, and my sister was at that time as well. After coming forward publicly in 2019 to speak at his bail hearing and then being a named victim in Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, I was feeling really ready to kind of put that part of my past behind me when we moved here to Long Beach this spring. Of course, the events of the summer have proved otherwise. And I felt it really was important when I saw the preferential treatment that Ghislaine Maxwell was receiving by the federal government and an opportunity to truly try to move towards transparency in this case presented itself. I decided to speak up once again and have been doing that quite a bit recently, both during a couple of trips to DC in support of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and also in the media. I was really inspired to do that by two individuals in particular that I admire. One is my sister Maria, who first reported Epstein and his co-conspirators to the FBI in 1996 and has been speaking up for many years about the institutional failures and the failures of law enforcement in this case, which I feel have never really truly been recognized. And then also, this part always gets me, because of Virginia Giuffre, a friend who unfortunately lost her life this spring and wasn't able to fully witness the impact that her coming forward and telling her story has had, on, I believe, the whole world. And so, because of them, I have felt it's important to keep speaking about this. There's been so much misinformation and sensationalizing and politicizing around this case from the very beginning. But at the heart of the case, I believe there are, three important messages that have a wider relevance to a lot of the challenges that we face today. And one is really just the abuse of power. We know that sexual abuse and exploitation, whether they happen against children or adults, are unfortunately very common in our communities and our world. And oftentimes it is an individual in power, whether that is the power of age or position, a teacher, a coach, a religious leader, that takes advantage of that power to harm someone more vulnerable. And I sometimes fear that because of the names involved in this case, there's a distraction from really what is essentially very similar to so many different cases of abuse and exploitation, which is that issue around power. There's also the danger of silence, right? And we see this play out in so many different ways today. And in this case, I think for those who've followed it, we see things like the birthday book have come forward, which is many people wishing Epstein birthday wishes that refer to his abuse of children and women. So the idea that it was not known what he was doing, that these people who many occupied positions of power did not know, is untrue. People knew. My sister told so many people, the dean of her college, people that were very powerful in the art world, about what had happened to her and me. And people, because of their fear or because of their desire for proximity to power, did not do anything. And so I think we also can see the importance of that lesson for so many of the issues that we face today, the very importance of speaking out. And then I think the power of coming together in community. When we spoke at the Capitol this summer and more recently a few weeks ago, it was incredible to be surrounded by other survivors, not only survivors in this case of Epstein and Maxwell and others, but so many survivors came to support us and we received so much help from organizations that support survivors more generally. And one woman had said there, and I believe it's such it really resonated for me, is alone we are fearful, together we are feared. When we come together that way, we can do so much that is others don't expect from us, and sometimes we don't expect ourselves. So there was really a sense of accomplishment when we were in DC. And you may have seen, if anyone's followed the story, that we often wear the butterfly as a symbol. And that was a symbol that Virginia Giuffre chose because she felt like it was a powerful symbol of transformation, of turning pain into something beautiful when you find the meaning in that and you speak out against it. And so I think that there is so much pain in our communities right now. And I really hope that and believe that what we have been accomplishing by coming together, despite differences, many of us have different political views, differences in many ways, but we've come together to work towards something we believe in. And that has been powerful for me. And I wanted to share just about that because I believe that can be powerful for so many of us right now. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Annie, for sharing your story. Our two morning readings share the Christian scriptures from the book of Luke, followed by a reflection by Laura Dobson entitled Magnified. First, the Magnificent, Luke chapter 1. And Mary said, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God, my Savior, for he has regarded the low estate of his handmaiden. For behold, henceforth all generations will call me blessed, for he who is mighty has done great things for me, and holy is his name. And his mercy is for those from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the mighty from their thrones and exalted those of humble estate. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent away empty." And now, Magnified by Laura Dobson. The Magnificat is a courageous and subversive song of praise. In the time of Jesus, Mary's homeland was occupied by the Roman Empire, a brutal military regime. Both the Roman and Jewish cultures were deeply patriarchal. This world was not a safe place for Mary or her baby, even within her own community. It must have taken great courage for Mary to say yes to what God asked of her. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German theologian who was killed by the Nazis in 1945, preached a sermon on the Magnificat during Advent in 1933, the year Hitler came to power. The sermon begins, "This song of Mary's is the oldest Advent hymn. It is the most passionate, most vehement, one might also say most revolutionary Advent hymn ever sung. It is not the gentle, sweet, dreamy Mary that we see so often portrayed in pictures, but the passionate, powerful, proud, enthusiastic Mary who speaks here, a hard, strong, uncompromising song of bringing down rulers from their thrones and humbling the lords of this world, of God's power and of the powerlessness of men." Mary's words were considered so subversive that they were banned by at least 3 oppressive regimes. During the British occupation of India, the authorities banned the recitation of the Magnificat at evensong. In 1970s, Argentina, the mothers of the disappeared put the words of Mary's song up on posters in the Capitol Plaza, prompting the military junta to ban its public display. In 1980s Guatemala, Mary's song inspired the poor to believe that change was possible through nonviolent resistance, and their government banned its public recitation. Mary's song calls us to resist the forces of oppression in our own time. The Magnificat is a call to social justice. It takes courage to make ourselves vulnerable enough to feel the pain of another. It takes courage to rise up against the powerful on behalf of the exploited, the marginalized, those in the community whose daily lives are adversely affected by unjust systems and institutions. It takes courage to embody the beloved community, sustained by love and compassion for all. It takes courage to say yes, to let love in, to be transformed by it. Here ends our morning reading.
Good morning. We are Lilia Ensemble. We are so grateful to be here with you today. The first piece you heard was O Frondes Virga by Hildegard of Bingen. Hildegard was a German nun and polymath from the Middle Ages. She was renowned for her contributions to music, theater, science, as well as writings of her visions. In O Frondes Virga, Hildegard portrays Mary as a blossoming branch and celebrates her bringing light and salvation to this world. Next, we will sing Magnificat by an early Renaissance composer, Bing Schwa. The text is from the well-known prayer that we just heard. In this piece, you'll hear us alternate between one voice and multiple voices. We hope this piece gives you some peace and space to reflect on the reading that we just heard.
Ete
Thank you. Let us now enter into our time of meditation and prayer, allowing the music to wash over our hearts and touch us deeply, bringing our attention to our own breath, our anchor in our own bodies as we really sink into this moment, this time, set apart from the week. In this holiday rush, let us come and take a pause. And so I invite you to close your eyes if you'd like to, or simply rest your eyes gently upon something you might find beautiful on our chancel, on our altar, and simply allow yourself to settle into your own breath for a few moments, just focusing on the rise and the fall of your own breath. And you can place a hand on your heart if you like, or your belly. Sink those feet deeper into the ground, whatever helps you to really find your center. And we're just going to stay here in the silence for a few moments, followed by some spoken prayer. It was Gandhi who said that it is better to have a heart without words in prayer than words without a heart. And so the silence brings us deeper into our hearts. And we are going to just focus on tending to and offering care to our hearts this morning. And so I invite you just to reflect on this heart of yours that you are bringing into this space, and check in. How is your heart these days? Who is occupying your heart? What cares and concerns, troubles, yearnings and longings are you bringing this morning? Maybe there's a person that is looming large in your heart that you'd like to bring into this circle of prayer. And so maybe gently bring that person's image into your mind, and as you breathe, send them some loving energy. Maybe that person in need of loving energy this morning is you. And so I invite you to bring a breath of care and compassion to you, offering yourself gentleness and kindness. And maybe that person who is in need of some love is someone who is difficult in your life, or someone in the world who requires extra care, extra patience, and extra love to be their best self and to bring whatever it is that needs resolving. And so let's bring that challenging person into our care with our breath. And maybe I even felt myself getting a little shallow in the breath when I thought about that person. So offering a big, deep breath of love and care, going towards the challenging people in our lives who require that extra care and extra patience and extra love. And this morning, inspired by the words of Annie, we want to pray especially for survivors. Survivors of sexual abuse and exploitation and trafficking. We want to hold you in the light of healing and care and love today. You are worthy and whole and beautiful. And this morning we pray for the release of shame and guilt and fear and doubt. We believe you, we hold you in care and love, and we embrace you as you find your voice, your power, and your vision of your future. We are a people who believe deeply in justice, that the arc of the moral universe is long, but indeed it bends towards justice. And we believe sometimes it does not bend fast enough. The justice is denied and delayed. And in the waiting, the hope and the patience, there is too the mistrust of systems of justice. That arc bends towards justice, but we must bend it. Each day, each month, each year, we must bend it over and over and over again. In this time of massive abuse of power, of unbridled greed and violence and growing evil. Spirit of life, give us each the courage to be arc benders in our time and place. Join our hands and hearts together to build power. Keep our vision clear and our hearts strong, knowing that alone we may be afraid, but together we are feared. In this holiday season, may these lights we kindle be our beacon of hope in the dark, protecting us, guiding us, blazing a way out of no way. Let us return to the silence once more to pray the prayers on our hearts, knowing that we are held in love. Amen, and blessed be. And let us breathe together for just a few more quiet moments, taking in the silence as healing. And when you are ready, I invite you to bring your attention back to this space. And we're going to hear another selection in just a moment so we can keep our musical meditation continuing. But before that, we will be moving into our offering. And this month, our offering was a special collection for the Minister's Emergency Fund. And although we will be collecting it officially next week, I wanted to just invite you to contribute generously to that fund, as it really truly is a fund for our community. In this time when we all need a little extra help, we can offer that to one another, and we can also recommend it. If we know that someone is in need in our community, we use it for many different resources, including supporting trans and gender nonconforming folks who are relocating from states where they feel unsafe and either passing through California or settling here. So there are many ways that that emergency fund is partnering with Pink Haven Collective and other organizations to really help all the needs that are emerging in our community. So as the plates go by today, I invite you to consider what your donation might be for the Minister's Emergency Fund, and then this Sunday our collection will be for the benefits of the works and ministries of this congregation. Now let us hear once again from the Lilia Ensemble.
Our next piece of music, Sol sub nube latuit, is a medieval piece which is known as a conductus. And a conductus is a sacred piece of music sung in Latin, which dates from the Middle Ages. And the conductus that we will perform for you today is from France, and it's by an anonymous composer which sets poetry from the 12th century French writer and theologian Walter of Châtillon. One theory regarding the origin and use of the conductus is that it's used as a processional hymn. You might feel that in the movement of the piece. Sol sub nube latuit sets a mystical text which celebrates the birth of Jesus and marvels at the miracle of God made man. I'd like to just highlight the opening text. You have the text in translations, but I just think it's very, very powerful, and I'd like to just share the opening lines with you. The opening text likens God to the sun and the human body to a cloud, and it proclaims, "The sun lay hidden beneath the cloud, but knew no eclipse when the Son of the highest Father merged himself with flesh." Sol sub nube latuit. Sol sub nube latuit, sed eclipsis nescius, cum se corni non erat factus est, nec tamen Thessalia, illum qui solutus est, stricta ligat fascia, iacet qui immensus est, inter animalia, gade nova nupta, fides est et veritas, cora carne deitas, non fuit coru.
It was the week before Christmas, 2004, when 16-year-old Florida high school student Michelle Licata's life changed forever. She still has the calendar where she documented all the things going on in her normal teenage life, in rounded, bubbly penmanship. First party, first time staying up till 3 a.m., talking to a boy on the phone. And of course, going to the mall for Christmas shopping. It was in December 2004 that her classmate told her of a way that she could make some money to buy Christmas presents. She was one of 7 kids, and finding enough money to buy presents was always hard. So she was interested. The note said here was a way to make more money than babysitting. And fast, her classmate told her. She would spend just 45 minutes massaging an old guy and get $200. Michelle thought it was a little weird, but she was interested. After all, the money was appealing, and Christmas was coming. So she and her friend made the 45-minute drive from West Palm Beach to Palm Beach to a mansion when she was escorted into a massage room, and her friend left her alone. Jeffrey Epstein appeared within minutes, and Michelle was terrified. She immediately wanted to leave, but how could she? Did he have a gun hidden somewhere and would kill her? She was a teenager. And here was an adult telling her to do things that made her extremely uncomfortable. And yet she was afraid that if she didn't do them, something even more terrible would happen to her. And even more confusingly, Jeffrey was shining a spotlight of attention on her, telling her how beautiful she was. With braces, Michelle had always felt a little awkward and ordinary. And in that moment, he made her feel special and chosen. So Michelle complied, so it would be over as quickly as possible. And at the end of the encounter, Jeffrey praised her and told her that he wanted to see her again and gave her the $200 to buy Christmas presents. Michelle was haunted and deeply ashamed by her experience and could not shake the feelings of being used, worthless, and somehow damaged. In her own words, Michelle said, "Before Epstein, I was like this flower opening up. And afterwards, it was like someone picked up that flower, plucked it up from its roots, and stomped on it and smashed it." Michelle is one of hundreds of women who have told similar stories. Youth and young women who had hopes and dreams and aspirations, who imagined their futures being bright or at least just different from their present. Some of them, like Michelle, simply wanted to buy presents for their 6 siblings and their parents, or some nice clothes and makeup at the mall. Some of them wanted to escape extreme poverty or abuse at home. And some of them dreamed of the Ivy League, of going to Harvard, or modeling or acting in Hollywood, or traveling the world and visiting cities like New York or Paris that they had only dreamed about. And some of them were recruited by classmates that they had trusted and were rewarded with another $200 for bringing in their friends. Some girls like Michelle endured a single or a few encounters before reporting it to police. And some other girls, most notably Virginia Giuffre, were sexually trafficked internationally and domestically over 30 times before the age of 19. And if you can, I recommend you pick up Giuffre's book, which came out in October, Nobody's Girl, which details her extensive sexual abuse, including by the United Kingdom's Prince Andrew, and a brutal assault by Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. The survivors are now in their 40s and 50s. In 1996, I was 16. And so these women are our peers and continue to suffer the effects of the results of the hands of Epstein, Maxwell, and their associates, including emotional and psychological distress, post-traumatic stress syndrome, emotional substance abuse, addiction, and other physical health problems. Tragically, Virginia Giuffre died by suicide this past April at age 41. And the survivors have had very different lives and backgrounds, but they were preyed upon with similar false promises. That with money and power and access, Jeffrey Epstein would help them become who they imagined themselves to be. It was Christmas again when Michelle reported her abuse to the Palm Beach Police Department, December 13th, 2005. That means it's coming up on 20 years since the depths of Epstein abuse was unearthed, leading to charges from the FBI. But it was nearly 10 years before that, almost 30 years now, when the FBI was notified about Epstein and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, including the assault on a teenage girl and her sister. And that whistleblower was young artist Maria Farmer, who reported on her own assault and that of her teenage sister, Annie, who so courageously spoke here this morning. Maria was living in New York and was employed as an assistant and an art advisor to Jeffrey Epstein and his associate billionaire, Les Wexner. Unironically, Wexner was the CEO of companies of popular mall chains that girls would have been Christmas shopping at. Bath and Body Works. Remember that one? It's still around, but I remember that was a big one to shop at for Christmas. The Limited, Abercrombie and Fitch, and Victoria's Secret. If Maria's reports to the FBI in 1996 had rightfully resulted in the investigation and prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein at that time, how many girls and young women could have been protected from the following 10 years of exploitation and suffering? Like Annie said, this is about abuse of power. And what we can clearly see today is the massive institutional failures of our federal justice system over these 30 years now that have conspired with Epstein and his associates to protect the wealthy and the powerful and to malign, silence, intimidate, and threaten survivors. And finally, in November, we got a little bit of good news. Delayed after months of the government shutdown, Congress voted in November to pass H.R. 4405, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which mandates that the Department of Justice publicly release all unclassified records, communications, and investigative files related to Epstein and his associates, aiming for greater government accountability. Aiming, it says, for greater accountability and justice for victims by revealing names, flight logs, and connections, with narrow exceptions for victim privacy and ongoing investigation. And it is not by any organic means that this bill was passed. This was absolutely the arc being bent over and over and over again, and by the outspoken advocacy and resilience of survivors like Annie and Maria Farmer, who played a huge role in putting the puzzle together and moving this bill forward, as did our own Congressman Robert Garcia here in Long Beach. And we are grateful to Congressman Garcia for being the ranking member on the House Oversight Committee. And this bill's passage is definitely progress towards justice. But we are cautious and guarded here because it's a wait and see how it will unfold to judge once again whether it will shield the wealthy and powerful, including our president, from true accountability. Because we know we live now in a world where billionaires hold even a more suffocating grasp on all aspects of American life, with even fewer guardrails to protect the most vulnerable people from exploitation and abuse. It is Christmas time rolling around again, and we reflect on the Advent season of waiting for justice that comes or doesn't come, and we reflect on waiting for what is still in the dark, what is hidden in the shadows, what is in need of protection and care. In the shadows of global capitalism, fueled by unbridled greed, millions of people of all genders and ages are being trafficked, coerced into some kind of labor, be it cleaning houses, taking care of people, and of course, commercial sex acts of one kind or another. Trafficking is about being coerced into labor by the use of force or fraud or manipulation of some kind. Traffickers groom their victims and lure them in using violence and manipulation, false promises of economic security or education, romantic relationships, the promise of a different future. And traffickers look for people who are easy targets. And right on our DHS website, it talks about the targets, including psychological or emotional vulnerability, economic hardships, lack of a social safety net, natural disasters, and political instability. Well, doesn't it seem like we have a perfect storm for trafficking to just really snowball, to use a winter metaphor here? Because our current administration's disastrous tariffs, which have made the price of those jeans at the mall $30 more expensive. You think about how much it costs just to have Christmas, and then you think about vulnerable people of one kind or another who want to buy things, and they're all more expensive, right? That's very simple. But then stripping of access to benefits and food, access to food and basic resources, health care, as well as the violent assaults on our immigrant communities, who are labor in so many different ways. Some of it is forced. The violent kidnapping, imprisonment, and deportation of immigrants is only increasing the prevalence of trafficking. So we have a perfect storm going on here. We have a major problem on our hands. And December 10th is recognized as International Human Rights Day. And I love that it's always in the middle of the Christmas season, so it really helps us to take a pause and think about human rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted in 1948, and it was written in the wake of genocide and the most horrific war crimes and violations of human rights during World War II. Its preamble reads, "Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity of the equal and unalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace. The recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family." None other than Eleanor Roosevelt chaired the Declaration's drafting committee. And it was rare to have a woman in power in that kind of a role. And it is well known that she worked tirelessly to center women and girls' interests in that declaration. Listen to this quote. She said, "Where, after all, do human rights begin? In small places, close to home. So close and so small that they cannot even be seen on any maps of the world. Unless these rights have meaning there, in those small places, they have little meaning anywhere else. So without concerted citizen action to uphold those rights close to home, we shall look in vain for progress in the larger world." Today, as people of faith, we can condemn the moral evil of human trafficking and child sexual abuse. It is evil, and we must condemn it in the strongest possible language. And that is what makes us people of faith. That is what makes us people of conscience and goodwill. Because our faith calls us to affirm the inherent worth and dignity of all people, with special regard to the most vulnerable. We affirm the words enshrined in that Declaration of Human Rights, that each person has a right to life, liberty, and the security of person, and no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all of their forms. It is in the smallest places that human rights begin, and in the care for the most vulnerable that the true sacredness of human personhood is realized. It was very beautiful to hear the Magnificat this morning, and to hear how that echoes throughout time of Mary's revolutionary song. And in our time, it brings more than comfort, but spiritual clarity. For it was a teenage girl where it all began. A girl who was chosen by God to carry a hopeful vision for the future forward. A time when the child she would bear would come to turn the tables of wealth and power, to proclaim the worth and dignity of the vulnerable as beloved and cherished by God. May it be so, and amen. Taking a breath, we will now gather for our closing hymn, number 226, People Look East.
People look east, the time is near of the crowning of the year. Make the roads fair as you are able. Trim the hearth and set the table. People look east and sing today. Lo, the guest is on the way. Furrows be glad, the earth is bare. One more seed is planted there. Give up your strength, the seed to nourish, that in course the flower may flourish. People look east and sing today. Lo, the rose is on the way. Stars keep the watch when night is dim. One more light a bowl shall brim, shining beyond the frosty weather, bright as sun and moon together. People look east and sing today. Lo, the star is on the way.
Please be seated for our closing words. Just wanted to close with another deep breath. Breathing in and out and finding ourselves centered once again. I'm giving myself that same pep talk. This is a lot of love and care coming your way this time of year. That we are holding one another as we move through this holiday season and all the joys and the stresses that it brings. So this is a message of love to take you on your way. And if you can, to give that love to someone who might need it as you go out the door today. Maybe it's someone you haven't met here in the congregation who you think could use a kind word today, or introducing yourself to someone. See if you can spread the light. And as you go out into the world this week, see if you can carry that light with you to a place or a situation in your life that needs some light. Let us be the light for one another in these dark times. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Amen and blessed be.
Our final piece is called Over the Hill and Over the Dale, and it's one of our favorite mixes of very old and very new. The tune, the melody, is from the Pie Canciones, which was a book of Latin carols that was compiled in Finland, in 1582. The words are by J.M. Neal, most famous for writing Good King Wenceslas, that you may be familiar with. The fourth verse is written by Tony Barrand of a wonderful group called Noel Sing We Clear. He was a fantastic musicologist because he felt the story needed rounding out. It's a beautiful story of the wise men traveling over the hill and over the dale. And because it was only one tune and there are three of us, the arrangement is by my husband. So lots of love and connection all around. And we hope that this tune and the words bring you joy, bring you light throughout this journey today and throughout this season. As the final words say, we hope that it has your hearts and footsteps a bit lighter today.
Over the hill and over the dale came three kings together, caring not for snow and hail, cold and wind and weather. Now on Persia's sandy plain, now where Tigris swells with rain, camel's tether. Now through Syrian lands they go, now through mud faint and slow, now o'er Edom's heather. Over the hill and over the dale, each king bears a present. Wise men go, a child to hail, monarchs seek a peasant. And in front a star proceeds, over rocks and rivers leads, shines with beams incessant. Therefore onward, onward still, ford the stream and climb the hill. Love makes all things pleasant. He is God, ye go to meet, therefore incense proffer. He is King, ye go to greet, gold is in your coffer. Oh, so man, he comes to share every woe that man can bear. Tempter, railer, scoffer. Therefore now against the day, in the grave where him they lay, myrrh ye also offer. Over the hill and over the dale, riding east together, caring not for snow and hail, not for wind and weather. Warned by God from Herod's door, each king turns for home once more, hearts and footsteps lighter. Now behind them